I was given 2 mushroom growing kits. Oyster mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms. But they are very different. The one in the box that I got first, the directions said to punch open the little panel, cut an X in the plastic bag that it's contained in, and then lay it face down in a bowl of water for up to 8 hours. But that's all the real information it gave you. But it did say to pierce the block a little, not cut through it, but just pierce it a little. And the second one, the cylinder gave you a lot more information. That one needed to be soaked up to 18 hours out of the bag with either boiled or dechlorinated water. It specified do not use distilled because the mushroom kit needs the minerals that are in the water, and not to use rainwater if it's come off the roof or out of a gutter because of the pollution that it would be carrying. And so I did that. And look, it's already doing something 24 hours later. So this is going to be interesting because it says it can take up to 7 days, 14 days before you start getting any mushrooms. And the cylinder one was very specific to make sure that when you harvest the mushrooms that you cut them real close, because if you leave any stem behind, that can start to decompose and rot, turn slimy and ruin the whole thing. Now, the one in the box didn't say anything like that. The one in the box, after soaking, you need to take it out of the water, dry the exterior really, really well, put it back in the box with the X in the opening. Yeah. The round one, the shiitake, said to put it on a plate, and they give you a separate plastic bag with holes punched in it for a humidity dome. And you cover it with the humidity dome, and you mist it 2 to 3 times a day. They suggest in the morning and in the evening. Since I had to use 1.5 gallons of water that had sat out overnight to be dechlorinized, I'm going to take that water and put it around the base of some of the permaculture beds and see if any of the little spores leaked out. If there's no spores on there, maybe some of the mushroom starts have leaked out enough to grow mushrooms on my permaculture bed edge. This has been about 24 hours. It's funny how it's only growing out of that one little wedge. Ooh, weird looking stuff. Wonder if I could break. Oh, there's a little piece in there. Okay. What I do is I pull the plastic flaps back and mist it. Oh, it reminds me of brie cheese. Ooh, yummy. And here is the round one. I got humidity in the tent. The little bumps are sticking out. It's not going as crazy as this is a shiitake. The oyster mushrooms are going nuts. This is 24 hours later, the next day. This is, oh, could that be a mushroom butt? A mushroom head? And that's where they've cut all the mushrooms off before. Okay, this is the 3rd time I'm filming the box. And I can't believe how much these have grown in just a couple of days. I can actually see mushrooms forming. So, if anybody wants to get these mushrooms, I'll put the link in to show more. Figured they said a week to 10 days. Well, it might be a week to 10 days before I can actually harvest the mushrooms. But boy, look at all those mushrooms. And these, what are these? These are the oyster mushrooms. Look at these oyster mushrooms. They're almost starting to look like mushrooms. Here's the shiitake. They are bumping out, but nothing as dramatic as the oyster mushrooms. Man, who knew they'd be this easy to grow? Look how big they're getting. That thing's getting heavy. I've had to move them outside, but apparently I'm allergic to them. My eyes are burning and watering and itching like you would not believe. Ooh, they're really starting to look like oyster mushrooms now. Oh, look at those little tiny babies in there. Well, they say from 7 to 10 days to harvest. And I started soaking them a week ago yesterday. Oh, look at these. Look at the little gills. Shall we taste one? Nice and tender. Tastes like a mushroom. I gotta cut that piece off so it doesn't rot the rest of it out. It's Wednesday, and this is a shiitake. It's not nearly as productive as the oyster mushrooms. They're from two different companies. Looks like this is one that they used for production, and after they use it so many times, then they sell it. Oops, starting to dry out. Santa Ana's is not good on mushrooms. I really don't think this is a shiitake mushroom, because they should be fanning out like the oyster. I think this is more of a portobello. Even though the package says that it's a shiitake. And I can see the mushrooms right there. And ta-da! I don't think they're... Oh, that looks like one of them's harvestable. So I'd have to get in there with a little bitty knife. Oh, look at all of them. Got a little too dry up on top. I'm gonna have to go mist a little more often. But look at all those tiny little babies in there. I see one for sure. Oh, are they interesting looking? The gills. And the shiitake are actually doing something. Even got more little ones coming up. It doesn't help that it's been in the 80s and that doesn't like to be over 75. They're getting to be a good size too. We're gonna have at least two because it's because it's so dry here. I had to put buckets over them because the plastic just is not holding enough humidity. Oh, I'll be having mushrooms soon. Here's the oyster mushrooms. I think they're just about ready to be eaten. Oh, look at the tiny little babies. Let's give you a good mist. You can see where they dried out a bit on top because of Santa Ana. I think a few of these are ready to go. I'm going to have fun trying to take them off individually. because it looks like you're just supposed to cut the whole thing off and eat them. And I don't want to do that. Here's the shiitake. They're getting to be a good size. They're still closed, so I'm safe. There certainly isn't very many of them. They come in clusters of 3. That's interesting. Good goodness. Keep the babies moist. Oh. Yeah, I think it's time to pick these, some of them at least. And the thing, it showed that when they started getting little cracks in them, that was the time to pick them. Need to go check the humidity level. If it's a little more decent, I'll uncover them. Oh my word. I think it's time to eat some mushrooms. There's at least 2 here. Let's give you a little bit more misting. Don't know what the humidity's like today, but this is definitely wet enough. And the soaking, I took one out to taste it. Ooh, really tasty. But apparently the humidity's still too low. They're starting to dry out, so I need to cover it up again. My, these look like they're ready to be eaten. Yep, those 2 are ready to go. Look at the size of these. Guess what I'm having for dinner tonight? Let's see, can I cut you free? I need more hands. Man, they're tough. Well, there we go. Oh, look at that. Is that not delicious looking? Ooh, wonder where I can put that. This is the shiitake. I have a light mushroom smell. Not strong at all. Guess who's having a mushroom and ham omelet? Okay. Hopefully I'll get more than just this. A dozen mushrooms. Our humidity's actually in the 20s now, so that's going to help. Yummy, yummy mushrooms. Looks like something got up and munched on them. And I need to recover them because they are getting too dry. But you can see where I cut the one out. Oh, look looks like I get a few more for lunch. Those two great big ones are going to come off. Well, here is the first shiitake harvest. This one and this one I harvested yesterday. They don't tell you when to harvest them. And there's maybe a half a dozen little tiny ones. This one came off by accident. It was too close to one of the other ones. And oh, I don't know price-wise if it's worth buying a mushroom kit. They say they're going to repeat. But when I had my first one in the 70s, it didn't repeat. Of course, I probably did everything wrong. But for the price, I could buy mushrooms a lot cheaper. But for the fun factor, this is well worth it. I mean, you can watch something grow daily. That is definitely worth it. Shiitake. This is oyster. They're starting to split, so I think these are ready to pick. And the ones I ate yesterday, every one of the stems were extremely tough and hard to chew. So I know to cut those off, dice them up, and use them for cream and mushroom soup. And you're looking pretty good. I don't know if you're supposed to be splitting or what, because the other ones that I've seen on the internet, they're like little cups. And guess what I had for dinner yesterday? I ate all those mushrooms. They are very good. Mushrooms apparently all taste like mushrooms. They all taste pretty much the same, some stronger than others. But I ate them all. Oh, I see another little one coming up back there. So we're starting on an, well, I'm going to take you out in the sun, or the brightness. I ate the others, and I can see where some are starting to come out now, a new batch. So, what is this, day 13? Ooh, I think those are ready to be harvested. There's little bumpies coming out down there. This is the shiitake. And I found that the stems on either one of them are very hard to chew. It's very tough. And in here, I think these need to be harvested, because they're splitting and fanning, but they're not turning up. Maybe they don't all turn up. Oh, I hate to have to cut the whole thing off. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. Let's see. Oh, I think I need to harvest those. It looks like there's new fungus growing. Those might have gone too long. But there are still little bumps. Look, there's mold, fungus, whatever growing up. Mycelium growing up there too. I think it's time to harvest these also. Well, I harvested the last 2 mushrooms yesterday. And it says to leave it uncovered for 2 days after your last harvest, because I don't see anything else coming up. It's drying out nicely. Then the next step, I think I'm supposed to soak it for 24 hours, cover it back in a plastic bag, and put it in a cool, dark place. I can't remember how long to get it started, to rejuvenate it. And here are the shiitake. No. And here are the oyster mushrooms. Poor things are shriveling up and dying. I think I have to harvest. But is that mycelium growing on top of the box? And all over the inside of the bag? Yeah, I think I have to harvest the whole thing now. I was hoping I could take the bigger mushrooms off. Oh yeah, they're just falling off. I have to harvest before they all die. Now then, I don't know if I can eat that one, or is that mold? Oh dear. Hope I didn't wait too long. The whole thing just fell off. Oh, there's a little one there. I didn't check to see how to reactivate this one. So that's the oyster mushrooms. Nice, big, healthy looking clump. This is the stuff I took off the oyster mushrooms. Either they had the white kind of, I'm afraid of it, mold. You know, that just might be the spores falling down now that I can see a print on them. A lot of them just dried up. I'm not too sure what these are. Well, I know what they are. They're mushrooms. A lot. The whole thing fell off, and these are drying up. So I'm going to tuck them in the front of the permaculture bed and maybe push some into the little cracks and see if something happens. Wish me luck. Some I squished into the wood, others I just sat on the wood. I put several of them. Whoops. Drops. Let's see what happens. Get in there.